The message came through with a photo of my wrecked car. My phone buzzed while I was at work. It was Rebecca, my girlfriend. The second I saw the image, my chest tightened. There it was, my 1969 Mustang, the car I'd spent 3 years restoring with my late uncle. It wasn't just metal and paint. It was the last piece of him I had left. In the photo, the front end was crushed against a concrete pillar in our apartment garage. The grille was obliterated. For a moment, I couldn't even breathe. Then another text popped up. "Oops, you need to buy me a new one or we're done." I knew exactly what she meant. She didn't want another Mustang. She wanted that brand new Lexus SUV we'd been arguing about for weeks. She was using my car as leverage. I stared at the screen, the grief hardening into something cold and still. I typed back a single word. "Okay." Then I took a screenshot of the conversation, opened my email, and forwarded everything to my insurance agent, Frank. He'd known my family for years and had seen the Mustang countless times while I worked on it. He loved that car almost as much as I did. The subject line read, "Claim Inquiry, 1969 Mustang." I called him immediately. "Frank, did you get my email?" "Yeah, kid, opening it now," he said. I heard the click of his mouse, followed by a long silence. Then, under his breath, "Jesus Christ. Is this some kind of joke?" His voice was low, edged with anger. "I wish it was," I said. "It's in the garage, level P2, spot 47. She has a key, must have done it today." Frank exhaled sharply, the sound of a man who'd seen too much. "Listen," he said, his tone suddenly serious. "This isn't a normal claim. That text she sent? That's a written confession to vandalism and extortion. I'm sending this straight to our Special Investigations Unit. These guys handle fraud, arson, the worst of it. They're like bulldogs. They'll dig into everything. The car, the pillar, security footage, the works." He paused. "Do not talk to her. Don't answer her calls. Don't reply to her texts. Let the SIU handle it. And get out of there for a while. This is going to explode, and you don't want to be anywhere near it when it does." I told him I'd go to my parents' place. They were out of town. "Good man," he said. "Keep your head down." I hung up. It felt surreal. I hadn't raised my voice. I hadn't even done much. I'd just forwarded an email. And now, a massive insurance company was about to come after my girlfriend. I went to my parents' house first and called the property manager, Mr. Henderson. "Hi, Mr. Henderson," I said, keeping my voice steady. "I've got a domestic situation. My partner, Rebecca, is moving out. She's not on the lease, but she has a key. I need the locks changed tonight." He started talking about the 48-hour notice policy. I cut him off. "She just did thousands of dollars worth of damage in the parking garage. I'm worried she'll target the apartment next." That got his attention. He said Gus, the maintenance guy, would meet me there in an hour. Gus changed the deadbolt. I paid the $150 fee, saved the time-stamped receipt, and added it to my growing file. Of course, Rebecca's text had already started. "Where are you? Are you going to the Lexus dealer or what? Answer me." I silenced my phone. The next morning, I woke up to a string of missed calls and a voicemail screaming, "The key doesn't work. What did you do? You can't kick me out. I'll call the landlord." An hour later, Mr. Henderson called, sounding annoyed. "I just got an earful from a Miss Walsh. She's claiming you illegally evicted her." "Mr. Henderson," I said, "you've got a copy of the lease. Section 4, subsection B, the guest policy. She's a guest, and I'm uninviting her." I heard papers rustling. "You're correct," he said. "She has no legal standing." I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. Later, my neighbor Mrs. Gable called. She was shaken. "Dear, there's a woman screaming and pounding on your door. She's been at it for 10 minutes. I think she's trying to kick it in." I apologized and called building security. 10 minutes after that, Mr. Henderson called again, furious. "She wouldn't leave. We had to call the police. She's been formally trespassed. If she comes back, she'll be arrested." A minute later, A PDF arrived in my inbox, a formal no trespass order. Rebecca's next move was to go after our friends. My buddy Liam sent me a screenshot from our group chat. She'd posted the photo of the Mustang with a caption, "Some maniac in a truck hit me in the garage and just took off. The car's totaled. I tried calling him, but he's ignoring me. He only ever cared about that stupid car." Her best friend Becca jumped in immediately. "OMG, that's horrible. He's such a monster." They were painting her as the victim, and it was working. I created a separate group chat with Liam, Mark, and Jen. I titled it The Truth and posted the screenshot of Rebecca's original text. "Oops, you need to buy me a new one or we're done." I added one line. It wasn't a hit and run. It was blackmail. The replies came fast. "Holy crap, dude. That's actually insane." 2 days later, Liam sent another screenshot, a GoFundMe page Becca had made. "Help Rebecca recover from traumatic hit and run." They were asking for $10,000 for therapy and moving costs. I didn't say a word. I forwarded the link to Maria Sanchez, the SIU investigator. Her reply was short. "Thank you. This is now part of the investigation. Soliciting funds under false pretenses can be considered wire fraud. We'll handle it." The next day, the GoFundMe was gone. That night, an unknown number called. I recorded it and answered. It was Rebecca's dad, Mr. Walsh, wealthy, used to fixing problems with his checkbook. "Son, sounds like there's been a little misunderstanding. Rebecca got carried away. How about I cut you a check for $15,000 to make this go away?" I kept my voice flat. "Mr. Walsh, I appreciate it, but no, it's a formal fraud investigation now. Case number SIU 202344B7. Look it up." The friendly act vanished. "Fraud? What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about the text your daughter sent, admitting she wrecked my car and tried to extort me, and the fraudulent GoFundMe. It's all illegal." He started threatening me. "You're ruining my daughter's life." "No," I said, my voice hardening. "She's doing that on her own. I'm just not letting her take me down with her. This call is being recorded. Don't contact me again." I hung up. I thought it was over, but 2 weeks later, my boss, David, texted me during a meeting. "Call me. Emergency." I stepped out and dialed. "There's a woman in the lobby, Rebecca. She's screaming that you stole money from her, that you've been stalking her. Security's on the way, but it's a scene." My stomach dropped. I worked at a wealth management firm. Reputation was everything. A screaming match in the lobby could get me fired. I rushed to the office. By the time I arrived, security had removed her, but the damage was done. The entire office was staring. I was called into the conference room. My boss, David, the HR manager, Cynthia, and the senior partner, Mr. Abernathy, were waiting. The air was thick with tension. "Explain," Mr. Abernathy said quietly. I opened my briefcase and placed a professionally bound folder on the table. 3 weeks ago, my ex-girlfriend, Rebecca Walsh, intentionally destroyed my car to extort a vehicle from me. I walked them through everything: the photo, the text, the police report, the locksmith invoice, the no trespass order, the GoFundMe, the SIU case number. The room was silent. Mr. Abernathy picked up the printout of the text and read it twice. Then he looked at Cynthia. "This isn't a domestic issue. It's an external party with a documented history of malicious behavior." The relief was overwhelming. A month later, Frank called. "It's over. The forensics team confirmed everything. Garage footage shows her getting into the car, revving the engine, and driving straight into the pillar. The DA has the file. She's being charged." The insurance check arrived, but it didn't bring back the hours I'd spent with my uncle, the smell of grease and paint, the pride of restoring something beautiful. Then, 2 weeks ago, Rebecca called. She was sobbing. "I got a letter from the DA. They're charging me with felonies. I could go to prison. Please, you have to help me." I let her cry for a minute. Then I said, my voice empty, "You should have thought of that before you sent the text." I hung up, blocked her number, blocked her dad's, blocked Becca's. Now she's begging for a lawyer because they're charging her with insurance fraud. The weeks that followed were strange. The office returned to its usual rhythm, but the memory of Rebecca's outburst lingered like a stain no one wanted to acknowledge. My colleagues treated me with a mix of sympathy and cautious respect, as if I'd survived something they couldn't quite comprehend. David pulled me aside one afternoon, his expression unreadable. "You handled that well," he said. "Better than most would." I just nodded. What else was there to say? I threw myself into work, using the distraction to avoid thinking about the Mustang or Rebecca. But some nights, when the apartment was too quiet, I'd find myself staring at the empty space in the garage where the car used to be. The insurance money sat untouched in my account. I couldn't bring myself to spend it. Not yet. It felt like blood money, a hollow replacement for something irreplaceable. Then, one evening, my phone lit up with a call from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. "Hello?" A hesitant voice responded. Hi. Is this your name? Who's asking?" "It's Sophie. Sophie Bradley. Rachel's daughter? Your niece?" A flood of warmth cut through the numbness I'd been carrying. Sophie was my sister Rachel's kid, the one who'd spent summers with us on the farm, helping Grandma Rose in the garden and begging for stories about the old days. I hadn't seen her in over a year. "Sophie, hey kiddo, what's up?" She hesitated. "I heard about what happened with your car and Rebecca. Mom told me." I exhaled, rubbing my temples. Of course Rachel would know. News traveled fast in our family, especially the bad kind. "Yeah, it's been a mess." "Are you okay?" The sincerity in her voice caught me off guard. I swallowed hard. "I'm getting there." Another pause, then softer. "I'm sorry about your car. I know how much it meant to you." Something in her tone made my throat tighten. Sophie had been just a little girl when Uncle Jake and I started restoring the Mustang. She'd sat in the driver's seat, pretending to steer while we worked, her feet dangling above the pedals. "I miss it too," I admitted. She cleared her throat. "Look, I know this is random, but Mom's been teaching me how to bake. Grandma Rose's recipes, the apple pie one, with the secret ingredients." A ghost of a smile touched my lips. "Extra vanilla and a splash of bourbon in the crust." "Yeah, that one. I was thinking, maybe you could come over sometime. Help me with it? Mom says I'm almost as good as Grandma was, but I think she's just being nice." The invitation was so unexpected, so normal, that it took me a second to process. But then I realized this was exactly what I needed. Not pity, not silence, but a reminder of the things that had always mattered. Family, tradition, the quiet strength of the people who'd shaped me. "I'd love that, Sophie," I said, my voice steadier than it had been in weeks. "Just tell me when." The next Saturday I drove to Rachel's place, the scent of cinnamon and apples already drifting through the air as I walked up the porch steps. Sophie greeted me with a flour-dusted hug, her grin infectious. "Uncle, you're here. Mom's already got the dough started, but she says I'm in charge of the crust this time." Rachel appeared in the doorway, wiping her hands on her apron. Her expression was soft, but her eyes held the same sharpness that had always made her the most intimidating person in any room. "Took you long enough," she said, but there was no bite in her words, just relief. We spent the afternoon in the kitchen, Sophie chattering about school and her friends while Rachel and I fell into the familiar rhythm of baking. At one point, Sophie paused, her hands still in the pie crust. "Uncle, do you think you'll ever get another Mustang?" I looked at her, then at Rachel, who was watching me carefully. "I don't know," I said honestly. "But if I do, it won't be the same. Some things can't be replaced." Sophie nodded, as if she understood more than her years suggested. But you'll still have the memories, right? And the recipes. I ruffled her hair. Yeah, kid, I'll always have those. That night, as I drove home, the weight in my chest felt lighter. The road ahead wasn't clear yet, but for the first time in months, I didn't feel like I was drowning. Rebecca's chaos had left scars, but it hadn't broken me. And the Mustang? Maybe its story wasn't over. Maybe one day I'd find another project, another car to pour my time into. But for now, I had something just as precious, the people who'd always been there, steady as the rising of the sun. I glanced at the insurance check on the passenger seat, then tucked it into the glove compartment. Some things, after all, weren't about the money. They were about the hands that held the tools, the voices that laughed over grease-stained instructions, and the love that outlasted even the deepest dents.